Welcome back to the deep dive. Okay, let's unpack this one. Today, we're plunging into a narrative that honestly perfectly shows how silence can sometimes be way more terrifying than any scream. We are talking about Whispers in Willow Creek. It's a story that really pulls us into the unsettling heart of this forgotten town. You've got a journalist returning, and she unearths this secret that's, well, it's darker and more ancient than she ever imagined. So, our mission today really is to peel back the layers of this chilling tale. We're going to follow Emma Carter's journey back to her, mysterious hometown. We'll dissect the eerie atmosphere surrounding its abandoned asylum and ultimately try to understand how that absence of sound, the sheer weight of forgotten places, and the kind of insidious nature of this ancient evil can all come together to form these really profound, unsettling truths. It's just a fascinating look at dread, and I'm ready to dig in with you.
Yeah, and what's truly fascinating about Whispers in Willow Creek, I think, is how meticulously it builds this pervasive sense of dread. It's not just about jump scares, It expertly weaves Emma's personal history with this much older, much more sinister narrative running underneath. It really pushes us, you the listener, to consider the profound power of places. How stories, especially ones steeped in suffering, they don't just fade away. They can fester, they can gain strength, and they can actively sort of wait for the right catalyst, or maybe the right person, to bring them back to life. This story really invites us to question what we think is truly buried and what might just be lying dormant, ready to wake up again.
Right. Okay, so let's start at the beginning then. Section 1. The Desolate Welcome to Willow Creek. And this kicks off with Emma Carter's unsettling return. So yeah, we start with Emma. She's a journalist. And after, 15 years away, she finds herself compelled, really, to go back to Willow Creek. The story uses this phrase, an invisible thread pulling at her chest. That immediately resonated with me. It feels like this isn't just a casual visit, It feels fated, like she's being summoned.
Exactly. It's not just a character choosing a destination. It's an immediate kind of subversion of that typical investigative reporter trope. Emma isn't just deciding to go investigate something. Something is actively drawing her back. It blurs that line between, conscious decision and this almost psychic compulsion.
And the town itself, Willow Creek. Established in the American Midwest, founded way back in 1865, but from the get-go, the description hammers home its forgotten nature. It's described as a place that rarely appeared on maps and never in headlines. That just immediately sets the stage, doesn't it? A location outside the normal view, a perfect incubator for secrets.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It's not just remote, it's forgotten. Maybe even intentionally erased from public consciousness, which right away makes you ask, who wanted it forgotten?
Yeah.
And why?
Exactly.
And that immediate, profound sense of isolation and decay, it's not just, atmospheric window dressing. It's a core narrative mechanism. By systematically stripping Emma of her external anchors, the town's isolation, its historical erasure, the story forces her and forces you, the listener, to confront this internal landscape of fear. The moment she steps into Willow Creek, the familiar world just starts to recede. It leaves her vulnerable to the uncanny. It almost feels like the town itself is a character, doesn't it? An active participant drawing her into its forgotten depths.
It really does.
And this speaks to a classic element of folk horror, too, where the land itself and the history soaked into it holds this kind of malevolent power.
And the description of the drive into town, the imagery is just so potent. The road itself is cracked and faded. It winds like a vein through farmland long since abandoned.
You can almost picture the desolation, right? Something once alive, now just decaying.
You really can.
It's not just painting a physical landscape. It feels like a psychological one, too, preparing Emma for the desolation she's about to find.
And that detail, the road as a vein, it suggests the land itself is dying, or maybe already dead.
Yeah, and she's driving through its decaying arteries. It's grim.
That cracked and faded road through abandoned farmland, it is more than just scenic description. It's an immediate visual metaphor for the town's neglect, the erosion of its life force, really. When a story opens with imagery that strong, it's not just setting a scene. It's embedding this feeling of decline, of forgotten purpose deep into your mind before any overt horror even starts. It's just brilliant environmental storytelling. It suggests a place that actively resists connection, almost repelling the modern world. Then, as dusk settles, the sun bled orange across the horizon, casting these long, ominous shadows. And here's where this crucial detail pops up. Emma's radio. It starts hissing with static. The narrative just plainly states, no signals here anymore, no music, no news, just silence and the low hum of the car's engine.
Yeah.
This isn't just showing isolation, it feels like a masterstroke in psychological horror, cutting off those familiar, comforting sounds from the outside world. It deprives Emma and us of any background noise, leaving us totally exposed to the internal sounds of her anxiety and, maybe more terrifyingly, the unnatural silence of Willow Creek itself.
Absolutely. It's like an auditory manifestation of her increasing vulnerability.
Yeah.
That static radio is such a powerful symbol. It's a symbolic severing, right? Cutting the umbilical cord to the familiar world. In horror, sometimes the absence of expected sound can be way more disturbing than a sudden loud noise.
Yeah.
That silence becomes this void, a canvas onto which the mind projects its deepest fears. And in Willow Creek, it creates this space where the town's own whispers can finally start to take hold. It also sets up this meta-narrative, doesn't it? The town is so off the grid, so forgotten, it operates under its own rules, outside the reach of modern info or rescue.
And then, that moment Emma actually crosses the town line, there's this weather-worn sign, "Welcome to Willow Creek, Estottery, 1865. And right then, she feels a chill swept over her arms. She tries to brush it off, blames the wind. But the narrative immediately shuts that down, though the air was strangely still. This is it. The first definitive, subtle hint that something is deeply wrong here. Her rational mind is already fighting against the town's palpable, unsettling reality.
Right, her body, her instincts are picking up on something her conscious mind is trying to dismiss.
Yeah, it's like those moments you get goosebumps for no logical reason, but your gut is just screaming that something is wrong.
It's a classic example, really. Foreshadowing through bodily sensation. The body's innate reaction to a place can often be the most accurate barometer of its true nature, especially in horror. And Emma's attempt to rationalize it, very human. We all try to explain away the uncanny, but the narrative's immediate correction that the air was strangely still, it validates her instinct. It firmly plants that seed of supernatural influence right at the town's threshold. Sets up a really clever dynamic. The protagonist's skepticism versus the undeniable reality of the setting.
Exactly. And the descriptions of the town's houses just deepen this dread. Lots of them boarded up, their windows like blank, watching eyes, and curtains twitching in the few houses that are still lived in. It paints this chilling picture of a town holding its breath, waiting.
Ooh, yeah.
It's not just decay. It feels like a deliberate, almost conscious suppression. The town isn't just isolated. It feels like it's actively isolating itself. And the people left are like sentinels, watching, waiting, deeply aware of a secret they won't speak. It's like a slow-burning fuse has just been lit, and Emma has unknowingly stepped right onto its path.
It definitely subverts that typical ghost town trope by giving it this palpable, almost predatory sentience. That phrase, holding its breath, waiting, it's incredibly evocative. It suggests a town under immense psychological pressure, right? A collective anxiety so profound, it manifests in the very buildings and the behavior of the residents, and the boarded-up windows as watching eyes that personifies the town, gives it this unnerving, almost sentient quality.
Yeah.
As if the place itself is observing Emma, assessing her arrival, not just being a passive backdrop. It sets this powerful precedent. Willow Creek isn't just a setting, it's a character with its own dark agenda, and its silence, that's a weapon.
Okay, so moving on to her first real stopover, the Willow Creek Inn. So Emma pulls up to the Willow Creek Inn, and as the story notes, kind of dryly, it's the only motel in town. But even this place, the supposed sanctuary, is immediately filled with this sense of decay and foreboding. The neon sign, for example, it flickered uncertainly, buzzing like a dying insect. Right away, you get this image, something on its last legs, barely holding on, making this disturbing, almost desperate sound. It's unsettling before she even walks through the door. Perfect little piece of environmental storytelling.
It's not just broken, it's actively dying, and its last gasp is a buzz. That flickering neon sign is such a brilliant, subtle detail. Neon signs usually mean welcome, commerce, life, right? But here it's distorted, malfunctioning, a symbol of decay, a twisted welcome, and the simile buzzing like a dying insect that adds this layer of visceral discomfort. It's the sound of something desperate, frantic, doomed. Speaks volumes about the inns, and by extension, the whole town's dilapidated state, physically and maybe, spiritually too.
And just as she steps out of her car, she hears it, the faintest whisper. She whips around, but nothing. Empty street. She dismisses it, fatigue, nerves, whatever. But for us, the audience, it's this chilling intro to the whole whisper motif that runs through the story.
Mm-hmm.
This auditory ambiguity is crucial. It's the kind of detail that gaslights not just Emma, but you, the listener. Makes you question that line between anxiety and actual supernatural stuff.
Is she just tired? Or is Willow Creek genuinely starting to speak to her? That is a classic technique in psychological horror. The suggestive, ambiguous sound that creates unease without revealing a clear source. It's designed to erode the protagonist's and the audience's sense of certainty. By introducing the whisper motifs so early and so ambiguously, the narrative trains us to listen for these subtle cues, knowing they'll intensify later.
Right.
It lays the groundwork for the more profound, more terrifying auditory assaults to come. Turns a seemingly innocent sound into a harbinger of real dread.
Then she goes inside. The inn smelled faintly of mildew and old wood. Again, cementing that atmosphere of age, decay. The innkeeper is described as thin and pale with washed-out gray eyes. Barely speaks, but her hands trembled slightly as she takes down Emma's name.
Wow.
This isn't just some eccentric local.